Today we're going to check out the Noopsyche hybrid. What's going on, guys? Devin from ReefDudes. So today we're checking out the Noopsyche hybrid. Now, I've always been a hardcore LED guy, and I've always been kind of hesitant to try the hybrids, but a lot of people love them, so I am really curious to see if there's any difference between LEDs and hybrids. Now, Noopsyche was awesome enough to send me their new hybrid to try it out, and this is actually one of the first ones I've kind of would actually try and put on my tank, and mainly because when you see a lot of them, to me, they look a little bulky and kind of goofy, like some have cords hanging everywhere. Where this one is fairly sleek and compact. One single cord, which is the big one for me. And you can you put whatever fixtures you want. Like I'm gonna obviously be using my Radions with mine. And when you do it, the one kind of cool feature is the flaps on the side fold in. So if you're sitting there looking at the tank, you can kind of direct it down so you don't see the light in it. Because it always drives me nuts if you see the big bars and the lights and stuff. So have our little rails to hook it up. And yeah, we'll unbox this baby and check it out. Got our hanging kit. We got our bars for mounting our LED fixtures. Got our power cord. You can either hang it or you can put it on the edges of your glass. I got the 3-foot fixture because that's the size of the lagoon tank. Got our controller and the fixture itself. All right, so here is the fixture. Here is with the wings, the flaps folded down. Now, if you wanted, you can make it flat and kind of have the standard issue look, which is kind of what most fixtures do. So you got your standard issue flat look. So that's where you want it fairly sleek. But if you're sitting there, it's by your TV, you just tilt it down a little bit and that will block the light. So I think that's kind of a pretty sweet feature. And there's only one cord. Did I mention that? That is pretty awesome. So I am going to be using this alongside with the XR15s. And I'm gonna put 2, maybe 3 in the middle, we'll see. And this will kind of also work too is as I move my tanks, and I can kind of share them between the 2 tanks for now. So looking at our rail kit, the rails just slip right inside of this little channel. And I got 3 just to make sure I can mount 3 of my Radions on the side. So I'm gonna have 3 extra 15s and then 2 T5 bulbs on either side. For the bulbs, I went with the ATI Blue Plus, since they're going to be kind of supplemental light. So the LEDs will do the bulk of the work, and then I'm going to use that for my 4 or 5 hours of kind of like cooking the corals. And the other thing I'm really kind of curious to see long term is there going to be a difference between straight up LEDs or a hybrid fixture? So I think that's going to be another kind of cool side experiment. So let's figure out how we're going to mount this one into the office tank. One other thing to note is there is a built-in controller into the fixture. So if you have the Noopsyche LEDs, I believe you can control them through that and program them. And I think you can also program the fixture so the timing through this little controller is built in. So once we get some bulbs in, we'll try it and find out. So next we need to install the LEDs. So with this, I'm going to be using the XR15s. And they kind of just hang on bars in the middle. So we're going to screw these in. So right now I have the front hanging. It is tilted back a little bit. I'm thinking I might add a little L bracket or something just to connect that and suck it up a little more just so it's level, because I think that'll look pretty good. Now if you're trying to figure out how to mount your power bricks, these little driver mounts or power supply mounts from Ecotech Marine are hands down the best ones I found out there. You basically just kind of measured out where it goes and then the Velcro wraps around it. And there's a couple screw holes on the back, so you can mount them along here and it makes it super clean setup. You don't have to worry about it falling, it's screwed on, and if you need to move it, 2 Velcro straps. So these things are awesome. Now, because we're dealing with an aquarium and water, I'm going to change this plug to a GFCI. That's just kind of a safety thing, just to make sure if there's any water ever gets in the circuit, it will basically pop a little breaker inside of it and stop you from getting zapped or your fish from getting fried or any of that type of stuff. So So I turned off the breaker to the room. Just double checking, little power meter. Make sure that there's nothing on there, and I'll swap the plug out. Now we got our GFCI installed, so if there's any water or anything ever touches anything, detects anything that's kind of funky, it trips this little tiny built-in breaker, and will prevent you from getting shocked. So always a good idea to put one of these in around a tank. We finally got everything mounted, installed, and wired up. If you look just right up there, I ended up installing 2 metal L brackets just to kind of hold up the fixture just so it says level and didn't have that little bit of sag to it. Now the 3 Radions are running the AV Plus schedule. They turn on around 9 a.m. and off at 10 p.m. So 10:30 to 8:30 is kind of their peak, and that's when they're running about 50% of the AV Plus. And as for the T5s, I have those guys running from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. So it's a good chunk of light when you add them all on. For the bulbs, I decided to go with the AV Plus bulbs. They're a pretty popular one. They give you a bit of that bluey white, so it's kind of like my fill light just for that kind of cooking coral period of the day. So I do have all my wires on the left hand side. They run down the side of the wall. Now there also is a controller on this side of the fixture. Now I do have it just turned on through the eCoral controller right now. You could use the fixture, but just the way I mounted it, it's a little bit tricky to get to it. They do also have a remote control that you could use if you didn't have easy access to it. So a couple different options there. And looking at the back one, this guy is angled down a bit, and that's really just because of my mounting bars. I kind of worked with what I got there. The arms do fold, so you can put them up or down. One nice feature is if you are looking at the tank straight on and you didn't want to see the bulbs, you can just tilt it down a little bit and it blocks the light, which is kind of a nice touch. And I do appreciate this one only has the 1 power cord on the side. I have seen some other brands where they have cords on both sides, and that, for instance, would drive me nuts seeing cords on this half of the tank. For mounting your lights, you can see these little rails that just go between the fixture and mounts them all nicely and just kind of hangs it right in the middle. So it keeps a fairly low profile, pretty sleek little mounting option. Overall, for all the different kind of hybrids that I've seen, this one I actually thought was pretty cool. Just that as a built-in controller, you can bend the little arm flaps. So the controller does not let you dim it, but it does let you schedule the on and off times for the fixture. Now, if I had easy access to that control panel, I'd probably use it. Because I don't, I just have it wired up through the eCoral controller, so I have that turning it on and off at a specified time. So there you guys have it, kind of first look at the Noopsyche T5 hybrid fixture, and in my case with 3 Radion XR15s in the middle. On a bit of a long-term test on my new shallow reef water box tank, I'm probably going to be using just straight up XR15s, maybe the 30s like the Radions like I did on my previous shallow reef. And I'm really kind of curious to see over time if there's much of a difference between 100% LED or T5 LED hybrid. Either way, it'll be a bit of a fun experiment to kind of compare the two tanks. But yeah, overall, it's a pretty sleek little setup. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next update.